Hello everyone, Angie. I'm an energy psychology practitioner and I welcome you to the final part of this three-part video series on EFT for parents and children. If you haven't done so already, I invite you to watch the first two parts of this series before you proceed to this video. Today, we're going to talk about working with children using EFT. It's similar to working with adults, but with special considerations. First of all, to make sure that the child is feeling safe. You can either ask the child, or we know from the child's preferences in which setting they would like to stay. For example, for a younger child, it could be surrounded by his or her toys, or an older child, maybe in their room, or maybe somewhere they like to sit outside, and so on. Then we ask the child whether they would like their parent to be present or not. Some children might say yes, some children don't. Both are fine. Next, we want to ask the child whether they prefer to be sitting, doing EFT, standing, or lying down. Important that the child is comfortable. Then we need to also decide how we're going to tap. Now, it's possible either to tap on the child, him or herself, the same thing as for adults, but just tapping on the child. Or you can ask the child to tap together with you, whether you're the parent or the practitioner. Or you can do a combination of both. So you can, yes, tell the child to tap, and then when your intuition calls you to do so, especially in tense moments, you can just tap on the child yourself. Okay. Another consideration which is important for children is the language to use. This is particularly true in the setup statements. Rather than saying, even though I have this problem, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, for a child, you would set it up differently. For example, if the child was hit by a kid in school, you would say, even though my friend hit me, I'm still an amazing kid. For example, if the child had an argument with the father, even though my dad yelled at me, I know my daddy loves me. Something like that, which is familiar to the child. Now, I'd like to present to you a case study on how EFT has helped a child. This is not my case, but it's a case from a colleague practitioner. This child was an 8-year-old girl who had problems with focus and ADHD. This child could not sit still in class for not more than a few minutes. And in fact, in the beginning, the practitioner had to do only 10-minute sessions with her. First, the practitioner was noticing that the child was having this compulsion to get out to play with the cat. So then they started tapping on that, gently approaching the core issue. So even though I have a problem, I want to go play with the cat, I'm still an awesome kid. Even though I really want to go outside to play with the cat, I just don't want to sit still here. I'm still an awesome kid. I really want to play with the cat, but I'm still an awesome kid. So reaching a place of acceptance about the situation. And that was one. Then the practitioner asked the child what she is afraid of. And he realized that she was afraid of failing. The reason she was constantly escaping their school at homework was because she was afraid of failing and disappointing her teacher and her parents. They tapped together on this. You're not so afraid to fail, afraid to make a mistake. I'm still an awesome kid. Though I'm so afraid to fail, I'm still an awesome kid. Afraid to disappoint my teacher, my parents, I'm still an awesome kid. And tapping, afraid to fail, I'm afraid to fail, until she felt calm and at peace about this fear of failing. Following these measures, this child was slowly being able to sit for longer periods of time. could sit still for 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. Then the practitioner continued to work with her. The sessions got longer, and they were having sessions weekly. And they were working on other aspects. And the next one was the practitioner asked her to imagine that she has failed already. First video, we said we need to focus on the negative, of course. But the reason we are focusing on the negative, so we feel calm and at peace about the worst case scenario, so we're not pressured about this worst case scenario happening, and from a place of calm and peace, we perform better. She visualized her fear of failing, and even though I'm afraid to fail, imagining that I'm failing and failing and failing, I'm an awesome kid 3 times, and imagining that she failed, really visualizing it, really feeling it everywhere in her body through the senses, and tapping as they go along, feeling this fear, actually visualizing the failing happening. This gave her a tremendous shift, and she could suddenly sit still in class and at home for 75 minutes. She faced the fear of failing, she broke through it, the EFT, and she could now sit still for 75 minutes. But the parents were not satisfied. They wanted to go a bit further. They were happy that their daughter came this far, but they wanted her to go a bit more by being able to sit still for 90 minutes. The practitioner worked with her more specific. With EFT, the more specific you get, the better results you have. They were going into the specific aspects of her work. So the next one was her difficulty spanning. They were really going her, looking through the books, seeing her difficulties, and tapping while she was experiencing the difficulties. Or going through, maybe she did it like the feel of a book and tapping on that. Or maybe when she was holding a pencil in her hand, she got anxious and they were tapping on that too. And slowly, they were closer and closer to reaching their goal. Fantastic, huh? This is one example how EFT works very well with children. By doing this, first of all, we are allowing our children to have a happier and healthier life. We're preventing the baggage from accumulating in the first place, which is great, because as an adult, it takes more time than to release and allow something to happen when you can prevent it. Also, we can release something which happened to them before, because in some cases, if a child experienced trauma at birth, it can affect their behavior later on in life. This can also be done well with EFT, and studies show that EFT works very well with children. They respond very fast because obviously there are not so many years for the baggage to accumulate. This gives some food for thought that maybe it's time that we start doing EFT ourselves and doing it with our children, getting each other in the habit of using EFT on a regular basis. I use it every day myself, and I use it to clear any unpleasant, challenging events I had during the day, and also it helps me to sleep better. So yes, why not incorporate it into our family lives and maybe in the future in our schools? Something to think about. And to conclude, if you have any ideas on how we can achieve this, if I can help in any way, feel free to get in touch with me and I'll be happy to collaborate. Much love, and speak to you sometime soon.